right. So, yes, I got a Buttkicker, and I've been trying it out with various different airplanes. And so this is going to be my first real flight all the way through with the Buttkicker. And so, I mean, there's several other guys that got them, and really I have no patience. The only reason I got one was because Amazon had them next day delivery with free returns, and I was like, well, next day free returns, so why not? I guess why not? So that's what I did. Make sure I get this headset set up right. And so we're here at Orlando, and what I'm going to try to do is describe, what's happening, while I'm taking off. I mean, there's other guys that are doing the same thing, but here's one more opinion, and maybe this one's worth something to folks. One more set of opinions if you're trying to decide whether to get a Buttkicker. I mean, Buttkickers have been around for years, and originally when I saw them, I thought, too complicated, too many wires, and who wants to be rolling their chair over the top of wires and stuff like that. And so they've improved and improved and improved, and the price has at least stayed steady. So it hasn't gone up in price at all. And so I hooked it up. The equipment is solid. There's no question about that. It looks really good. I've had one incident where even though the unit said it was on, even though it was receiving sound, even though it everything looked green and okay, it wasn't doing anything. So my fix was simply to walk over, unplug it, plug it back in, turn the power back on, and everything was golden again. So that was, and I've only had it since yesterday, so that happened. So I don't know if that's a fluke or something with the unit itself or something. Anyway, but the equipment's solid. It feels solid. They do warn you not to clip, and not to drive the sound through it too hard. And so honestly, with Flight Sim, I don't see any reason whatsoever to turn it up that awful much. It's what you want is a subtle effect. You want to feel the light rumble of the engines. I mean, in a GA airplane, you'll feel the prop, and that'll be pretty significant. But in a jet, you won't feel that so much, though you'll feel the ground roll and all that kind of stuff. And it's got gaps. There's things about it that are great. There's things about it that aren't so great. It certainly isn't what I expected. When I imagined myself, I imagined it shaking all of the right things. It's called, it's what it is. It's what it does. It uses low frequency to shake your chair, and I imagined it shaking all the right things, and that's not what it was. It doesn't do that. It shakes the chair, yes, but it doesn't quite do it in the way you expect, and that's kind of both good and bad. And maybe I can explain it. I hope I can explain it. So let's get this show on the road. I'm doing a short flight up to Pensacola with the idea that I might do another flight on up to Memphis, depending on ATC. I figures Jacksonville's online right now. Oh, I'll see. I'll see if I want to do that. I'm curious if I haven't messed with my sound. One of the side effects of live streaming with an Elgato card is your sound system gets really bizarre, and I was actually doubtful that I'd be able to get this device working and still have all my sound settings. So far, everything's okay, but it took me 2 hours of trying to figure it out, and in the end, it was something simple. But yeah, I've got everything working. So let's get this show on the road. Did I file my? Or, we'll see. I don't know if I want to, because I'm going to be trying to talk about this thing. God damn, Volanta, get out of the way. Alright, you get out of the way too. Yes, I'm ready to go. I need 3,300 pounds of fuel. Um, so that'd be 36. So that's good. Let's do this. We'll do... Could just go myself. Alright, so we're loaded up. This going, this going, this going, this going. And it does, and oh, by the way, I also got this software. I tried it without this software. Okay, you don't have to buy any extra software. If you get a Buttkicker, they're 200 bucks, 199, you know, on Amazon. And you can use it just like that, and it works okay. It's not bad. You know, but I did get this software. What's it called? Sim Shaker, which I'm going to actually study. I'm going to see how much it helps. I'm going to fly with it, without it, and see if it's actually worth the money. So far, it seems okay. I do like the fact that you can adjust things, so maybe, and it seems to be stay out of the way. You know, it seems to, like, I don't have to configure it once it's configured, unless I want to. And you know, with all the software everybody gets with their sim, you know, you got this little app, and you got this little app, and this little app, and it just all adds up to a lot of stuff. And you have to start thinking about, do I want to actually deal with that? And you know, that was one of the things. And there were some people recommending it. The core app itself is free, so I downloaded it. I said, well, I can always uninstall it, and I can still uninstall it if I want to. But yeah, it's real quick. I'll just I can show it to you. So really, it allows you to do this. So I'm on SimConnect for some. You know, I better restart it. Right now, it shows piston. I flew a piston airplane with it, which I'll talk about maybe my next flight. And it was good. But you can adjust these settings. Notice that I've got ground rolls pumped up to 80, landing gear up and down up to 80, touchdown up to 75. Most of them are 50. Turbulence is 25, and I shut off G feeling effect completely because you don't hear G's, right? Or you don't feel. I mean, you feel G's, but it's not a vibration. So I said, well, that's kind of silly, so I shut that off. And so far, I'm pretty happy with this. So it also works with X-Plane. And I'll say something more about X-Plane here in just a little bit. But really, it's agnostic. Well, this software works with X-Plane, see. So it works with DCS and with X-Plane. And I've heard good things about DCS with it. So yeah, this is pretty simple. You don't have to change these values if you don't want to. And for GA airplane, I didn't change it at all. So let me just be sure I shut that down and restart it real quick, because I don't want it. I don't know the software that well, and I want to make sure that it's applied the jet settings, which it's not that sophisticated of software. Okay, and let me check the status. Yes, status. It's not that sophisticated. It's decent. It's free, you know, and maybe someone will come up with something better in the future. Oh, and you can buy these sound files with it, sound something or other, and that's 24 bucks. 16,000 rubles I think is what it was. So it's a guy in Russia that wrote it. First thing I've ever bought in rubles. But PayPal, right? PayPal. All right, so real quick, pausing it. All right, there's that. Let's go to index. Next. Mod set. Turn ground power on. In theory, it you'll be able to feel the GPU, the vibration from the GPU. Right now, I do not feel the GPU thing. So it hooks up to the sim. The software does. So it sends sort of extra sounds. And actually, the way they recommend doing this is using a second sound card. So you have one sound card for the sounds, and the second sound card handles the events. And so they recommend you get a second sound card. Honestly, it's okay. Do that if you want. You don't need to. That's my flight plan. VIZTA. Oh, what am I doing? Hopefully I won't screw up the rest of this. VIZTA to Cross City, CTY. Cross City to Drabic. If I do a VETS in flight, I'll do it later. We'll just, you know, usually I don't do 2 flights a night, but sometimes I do. Might be cool. So there's that. We're exec. Let's go to the legs page real quick. And plan. And next. They introduced a bug in FS20. Introduced a few minor bugs in FS 2020. If your mouse disappears, you can't click anymore. And even though you just click, the mouse disappears anyway. Okay, so that's good. And there's that. Get that out of the way. What else? Flight plan, departure. Let's see, we are in KMCO. Weather is VFR now. It was marginal VFR when I started this thing. 0808. 8. So, what does that mean? So, I guess that means I'll depart 36 left. No SID, no star. Exec and right. Close that. PNS. Weather 0903. They've got a good runway for that. Runway 8. And actually, it doesn't matter. It's 3 knots. 3 knots now. Wait till Sunday, right? All right, but I can go 8. And for now, I'm just going to put in the visual runway 8. Okay. So that's legs, performance, perfinite, 2 packs, 100 pounds. And cruise altitude is 320. Takeoff. And the wind, 0808. We'll see how well I stay on the runway. 28 degrees. And altimeter is 3001. 300. Delete 1. Exec. Next. Send. Alright, we're good to go. So, battery switches on, emergency light switches arm, standby flight display switches on. I guess I could set that to 3001, can I? Avionics switches dispatch, parking brake is set. Wheel chocks are removed, cabin doors closed, passenger briefing is complete, seats, belts, pedals Adjusted secure exterior lights. Let's see if that's working. Yes. ECAS is checked. FMS is checked and set. Climate control selector is off. Throttle's idle. We start. We'll start the left engine first. Okay, so this is where, if the Buttkicker is doing its job, and it is, you start to feel the engine vibration under your seat. And I've got it turned down to where it's subtle for a couple of reasons, but yeah, now I can feel it. And what that does is it makes you feel like you're flying a machine, which is what you're doing. Right? It's easy when you're flying in a sim to, yeah, there it is. There's a rumble in my back and under my butt, just a little bit. I actually added a cushion to my seat to kind of spread the vibrations out a little bit, and it's working pretty well. It's just a big cushion I had. But it makes you feel like you're flying an actual machine. Rather than, you know, you're not really, you know, it's on the screen. It kind of pulls the sim out of the screen into you, if you know what I mean. I hope that makes sense. And honestly, I was agnostic about this. Like I said, I got it because it had free returns. I was not convinced that this was a decent product, and it's $200. You know, I've got the box. I could ship this sucker back. So I'm just going to be as honest as I possibly can. But that was the effect. When I was flying today, I was flying the DA62. You know, I took off from St. Pete and just did some flying around here and there. And I noticed that I was behaving different. You know, it's subconscious. And, you know, I can't say I was flying any better. I was messing things up like you wouldn't believe, but I noticed how I felt. I was much more engaged in what I was seeing on the screen. And when I say much more, psychologically, you know, or whatever it is, I was probably 30 to 40%. Now we'll see, you know, because I'm going to do some flying. I'm doing a flight today. I may do a flight tomorrow night. You know, after a few days, let's see if I still feel the same way about this. You know, I figure I've got 30 days or so to try this thing out. Impressions right now are to keep it. So, left engine started, right engine. Yeah, so it's a fairly decent vibration, and you feel it in your butt, you feel it in the arms of the chair, and you feel it in your lower back. If you could imagine being a passenger, I've probably got it turned to where I'm a passenger. I'm not sure that you would feel it this strong up in the front, but I'm giving myself a little bit of license here to turn it up just a little bit more for various different reasons. Partly because I'm still adjusting things, partly because, you know, I want to know what this thing can do. But I am trying to keep it subtle. Right now it's a little bit over the top. Okay, so now I'm going to leave it like that for right now. But it's vibrating pretty good. It's like almost a thrumming, which you don't really hear. The downside of using a single video card with this thing is that while you're flying along, if there's lightning, and God knows there's a lot of lightning in FS 2020, you feel the lightning in your rear end. And you know, I thought, well, that's weird. And then I was like, I don't care. It didn't affect anything. It's okay. So I got two good engines. Close that. Close that. Avionics on. This on. These. Avionics climate control. Passenger safety trims are set. Light controls. Free and correct. Speed brakes. Check. Flaps. Now I'm feeling that. That's about ridiculous right there. So I'm gonna adjust it down just a little bit, but yeah, you would not feel it that strong. Where is flap movement? Let me cut that down to say 30. Save that. Alright, so maybe that'll do it. And then let's try it again. That's better. I mean, it's honestly still over the top. Let me go down to 20. Like, I doubt you would feel it that strongly. Save that. And start again. And let's... Okay, I can leave it there for now. We'll keep, like I said, I'm still adjusting this thing. Hydraulic pressure is good. Engine only anti-ice is as required. Takeoff data is confirmed set. Avionics. Let's see. So we're departing runway 36 left, which has a heading of 005. There we go. Let's see. Altimeter is 3001. We're going to depart at 3,000 feet. I'm not going to mess with VATSIM. Not on this flight. So 3,000. There's that. And that's set. So we're good. Autopilot.
Autopilot.
Off. Avionics checked and set. Autopilot. Altimeter is checked and set. Pressurization is fine. ECAS is checked. Afterfighter doors are latched. Let's do this, and traffic, and terrain, and let's do weather. There is some weather up north. At least there was. I haven't looked in a little bit. Exterior lights on. Brakes off. Alright, so taxi plan is to taxi out on Alpha 236 left. Alright, so clear left, clear right. Here we go. Okay, now there's a good rumble there. And let's see, how can I describe this? The way I've got it adjusted is kind of like if you were driving in your car slowly right now and you feel the road. You know, that's what I'm trying to get out of this thing. Yeah, I could probably turn it down a half a notch. So nose wheel steering works, brakes work, compass works, right? Yep. So nose wheel brakes, parking brake, yep. Ice protection system is check rotor bias system. Seats, upright, flaps, checked and set, speed brake, 0%. Trim, see, I'm just gonna wait till I get taxied down here. I'm just taxiing all over the place. This is BS. It's bullshit. That's what it is. It's bullshit. Let's see. And yeah, and this is ooh, look at that. What a mess up. Climbing a hill. So yeah, I could probably adjust this down, and I probably will. At some point I'll probably adjust this down a little bit. But, you know, whatever. Speed brakes are 0%, trims are set for takeoff. TCAS, T-A-R-A. T-A-R-A 2200. Radar is on, go around button. There we go. And I'm going to go heading mode, by the way. Battery amps. System. Minus 20 is good. Hydraulics are still good. Ice protection systems as required, and we are ready to go. So clear on the departure end, clear as far as I can tell on that end. So lights, icing, flaps are set, transponders on TARA, switches, parking brake is off, toga is clicked. And what I can tell you is, I mean, every airplane is going to be different too, because they've all got different sounds. This one, when you just nudge the power just a little bit, you get this little bump out of it. That's this airplane. And you feel these little rumbles like you're taxiing on asphalt. Or concrete, you know, really, but that's what it feels like at the moment. Of course, I'm seeing asphalt, so it's probably my brain doing that, right? My eyes. So here we go. Rumble's really picking up. Okay. Engine rumble is too high. But right now it feels really good, as far as I think this is what it would feel like if you're zooming along at 119 knots down the runway and you're supposed to be rotating. Positive rate, gear up. Okay, so interesting. Now if you can hear that, that's that sound thing, which I didn't know was going to do that. This is the first time I've tried it with this, with that sound, whatchamacallit. So I guess that's why you need the second video card if you're going to use his files. Let's see, flaps up. Yaw damper, IAS. Which I don't know if I want to mess with. I may shut his sounds off if I can figure out how to do that.
Altitude.
feet. In heading mode, yaw damper's on, alt is on, gear is up, flaps are up. Let's go to, I tell you what, let's put autopilot on, and let's go to nav mode. Nav mode. Oh, sorry. Okay. Direct. VIZTA. Exec. And let's... Okay, oh, we're already on L now. We can sync that up. And then let's do BS. Oh, that's... Oops. That'll get us started. BS up. BS up. Actually, let's do IAS and go down to 240. And here we go. So we're in flitch mode, LNAV 1. And let's put on climb power so we get a good climb. I wonder if there's a way to shut, I mean, yeah, I closed his window for right now. It's some extra sound files that you can get with that freeware. So I would have to do some serious adjustment. I'll do some experimenting with it. It's not necessary. I'll have to do some experimenting. I really don't want to buy a second sound card, right? I got this thing complicated enough, if you ask me. And this works pretty well. Honestly, I can already think of some ways that I could avoid it. One way is to shut off the landing gear up and down thud. You can shut that off, so yeah, I could do that. Because that's the only sound I found intrusive out of all the ones that I've felt so far. So yeah, I could still use that. But I shut it off. I don't need it. I still feel a vibration in my butt. So I'm still flying a machine. It still feels like I'm flying a machine. And it's very subtle. I've got it turned way down. So let's pump the altitude up a little bit more. And hopefully we'll run into some weather. There is a turbulence vibration, which I don't know. I haven't tried that out yet. It feels really good in the arms of the chair. Just what you would expect, if you could imagine. Where it doesn't work, that's something I should mention. You know, there's no vibration at all in your yoke or in your throttle handles or in anything else. So I saw one guy who bought two of them, two or three actually, and he actually has one hooked up to his desk to make his, so he can feel it in the throttles, which I thought was pretty, number one, pretty creative, and number two, a little over the top. I don't think that would be hard to do because the Buttkicker has a Y connector. And so you would hook up one Buttkicker Y connector, and then you'd hook up another Y connector, and then just go out to both Buttkickers. And I think that would work fine. There's nothing fancy about the way the Buttkicker by itself works. It takes sound, and it's basically a vibrating subwoofer is all it is. It's attached to your chair or your desk or whatever it is. So I'm actually going to put my range out a little bit because I want to see where weather appears. Yeah, there's a pretty sizable storm up beyond Cross City, right in this area up here. I don't think we'd see it this far out. It would be right in this area, right around here. So we'll see where, if it does show up and where it shows up. That'll make it more interesting. But right here, I would say the weather's accurate. And then I mentioned X-Plane, didn't I? X-Plane. It actually might even work better in X-Plane than it does in FS 2020. And it may be because of, what's the name of that app? I've got that app that makes the sounds and things, vibrations, stuff like that. It's both kind of working together. They're independent. There's no connection between the two whatsoever. But when you're getting vibrations, visual vibrations, you're actually feeling those vibrations in the seat because both of them, they're responding to flaps and gear. That's the way I've got it set up. Vibrations when there's flaps and gear out in X-Plane. So when the flaps and gear are out in this airplane, or in the Phenom is what I had it, then I've got it set to where this thing does a subtly stronger vibration, and that worked pretty well. So yeah, if you're thinking about X-Plane, if you've got X-Plane and you're thinking about this, I cannot think of any reason why it wouldn't work any differently, really, other than the fact that they've got F-mod sounds, and this thing works just great with F-mod sounds. So yeah, I'm looking forward to getting back into the Phenom. And then I'll do another video on the DA62 with this thing. And the DA62 was pretty cool. I was flying it along, and I got on Discord and I asked them just to be sure if they were going to be putting NexRad on the DA62. Because if you're going to be flying the DA62 on trips, which is what I do, right? I go on trips. Then you need NexRad. I mean, I would. So I asked them that because it was cool. The vibrations were about perfect. And they're stronger because it's a prop. And it's also a twin. And the engines are right up there by you. So I need to try out a turboprop. Probably a Cessna 208 is what I'll do. Even though a little tempted to try the TBM, I just have been unconvinced by their. Every time I get in the TBM, I always find myself disappointed because I compare it to the hot start. And I've got a problem that drives me nuts about the hot start that pertains, I guess, to my machine. So I don't fly the hot start as much. I haven't flown it. I mean, I was having problems, low frame rates with the thing, and I finally pinpointed what it was, and I asked a question, and I didn't get an answer back. And so I said, well, I'll stop flying it until I get an answer, and I've never gotten an answer. So just about where we need to be. Let's see. There we go. And that's standard. I can let the passengers up a little bit. I can shut the landing light off, and I want that on. So. Cruise, pressurization, national protection systems, throttles.
Altitude.
Let's see what that gets us. All right. Yeah, the thing that's good about it, if there's anything good about it, is your subconscious. More so than the obviousness of it, because I mean, your subconscious buys into the fact that you're flying in the machine. You know, and you don't even think about it. It's there. So we'll see how I feel in 2 weeks, because by that time the newness will have worn off. You know, my subconscious will have adjusted and all that kind of stuff. And we'll see what I think about it then. So yeah, I was thinking, I need to think about a new yoke and a new throttle system. I've still got my old CH units, which I was largely happy with, weirdly. The same, I mean, these things are so old, even the dust on them is old, if you know what I mean. You know, you would think that I would have replaced these things, but I'm not yet. You know, given the choice between a Buttkicker and either a new throttle or a new yoke, I opted for the Buttkicker. At least now. For the yoke, I want to get a Fulcrum, which has got an amazingly long travel distance towards you and away, much more so than the others. And I just wish the yoke handle itself was different, but actually he may make other yoke handles. You can pull the yoke handle off, and you know, so that may be something that he'll do. The guy that developed it, but it's got a, you know, if you've flown a real airplane, you don't, you know, like my CH has only got like 2.5 inches in and 2.5 inches out. In a real airplane, it's more like a foot. So long travel distance matters to me. And then, but I do like the Honeycomb Bravo. That's an impressive. That's well thought out. So I'm not sure. Are we going to see a storm over there? I hope it's accurate. But yeah, I would say the vibrations are about perfect right now. I will fart around with that other software. You can create different files, and I'll have to make some adjustments. Feels very real right now. I could still maybe turn it down a half a notch, just a bit, which I can do with that software, or with, it has a plus and minus on its intensity on the unit itself. But I want to set it someplace and keep it there because you don't know. And there's nothing that says you're on intensity 3 or intensity 4 or 5 or whatever it is. It's, you just click up and down. I know my son's going to want to borrow this thing. So the sounds in the cockpit, the wind sound that you're hearing, while it's not, you don't feel it in the butt kicker. You don't feel its sound in the butt kicker. You feel other sounds, and it makes your brain kind of connect to the sound of the wind. I mean, you get a feeling like you're moving. So we're 24 minutes to top of descent. I'll be real interested to see how it feels when I land without that other software. I will say with the DA62, and I didn't have that other software yet, it felt great. The moment you touch down, you get lots of vibrations. So you felt like you'd actually arrived on a runway. And you can shut it off. Like, for example, if you're on a long flight and you just get tired of the whatever vibrations you've got set up, you can shut it off. You know, I saw someone mention that they have one and they do get tired of it sometimes. I will be right back. All right. So really, I don't know what else I would say about it. You know, I mean, the more interesting part will be when we come to top of descent and start deploying flaps and gear and all that kind of stuff. But you know, I think more and more simmers are getting these things. Let's see, I'll do my flight planning here. Pensacola weather. Perf. 090/4. Great. What did I do? Perf. Oh, approach. 29, which is 84 degrees. And 3002. That'll be a lot lower in another week or another few days. And let's see, with our VFR, view at 800. So, legal to do a visual, anyway. So we can try that. So, legs. So, really, I don't know what's going on. I thought this worked better than this. This should say KPNS right now. Shouldn't have removed that. So that when we leave PENSI, we'll go directly to the airport and not to the extended center line of runway 8. You know, until you're cleared with a visual, you really can't do this. You have to stay on the route. So I don't know, it's maybe a bug that they introduced it. I think, yeah, I don't know. Something to keep your eye on if you're flying this airplane. Yeah, I wish you could feel this. I mean, there's, you know, my sound usually comes through pretty good on YouTube these days. So if you've got headphones on it, hopefully it sounds good today. But oh, and PENSI's going to mess up my descent too, isn't it? See, PENSI's here, so it wants to take me out here and then come, and then here's the final approach, or the 5 mile final to runway 8 right there. So, okay, so, no, call I've been waiting for. Let's see, yeah, so what I'll do is I'll put PENSI at 1,500 feet. That will be good, close enough. And then I'll also put this at 1,500 feet so that when I remove PENSI, it'll stay on there. And now there should be a storm here. The weather is off again. Dear Lord. Ten minutes. Yeah, you feel like you're flying a machine way up high. That's what it feels like. So that's what really this thing gives you. And honestly, if it only did that, if it only vibrated when you were, you know, just from the engines or something, then, you know, say they had a cheap one that cost like $50 or $20 or something, that would probably be worth it. You know, you have to ask yourself if $200 is worth it. But, you know, as far as yokes go, the CH isn't that bad. It's okay. Maybe Christmas, right? Maybe Christmas. And maybe the supply problems will start to iron out by Christmas. I don't know if they will or not. But, maybe, right? Maybe. Hey, Ron. Just extreme. Watching this dealer get their butt kicked. Yeah. So it's the butt kicker times 2. What's my verdict? So far I like it. I'm trying to stay neutral on this thing. I mentioned at the top of the video that I can return this thing. You know, I got it on Amazon. Next day free delivery, and I can free returns. So I'm going to try it out for however long I can. And at some point I'll make a final decision. My inclination right now is I like it. It does bring something to the sim. You know how everybody is, though. They get something and they think it's the greatest thing since Swiss cheese, or at least that's what they say, and then, you know, they're not so thrilled with it later on or something like that. And then I'll also have 30 days to see if it gives me any problems. You know, it didn't add that much more complexity to my sim, which is something I was worried about. The wires are out of the way, which is another thing I didn't necessarily like about this thing. I was worried about the wires, but, you know, the construction is great, really solid. So at least I can say that. But we'll see how much trouble it gives me, see if it starts giving me any headaches. I've heard support for it is really good, though, too. You know, if somebody had, they got one, and soon after they got an older generation one, and it was giving them problems. They contacted support, and support sent them a brand new unit. And the same thing happened to the second one, and they sent them another brand new unit. That's pretty good support. So, and as I mentioned, and I'll do a flight possibly, well, see, you said that tomorrow night they've got a event with VATSIM at Melbourne, right? 'Cause I think I'll only have time for one flight tomorrow. So if they're doing that Phenom flight tomorrow, I'll do that. But then on Sunday morning, I may do a DA62 because the DA62 is very impressive with this device. I'll have to send you a pic of the installation. Yeah, I could do that. I mean, if you want to see the sloppy set of wires I've got over on my PC, I'd send that. It's not bad. For somebody that doesn't have an Elgato card, I can imagine the setup taking half hour. Because you do have to get voice meter banana. Or, what's the other? I think it's banana. You got to get voice meter something. I think I've got banana, but if you stream, then you've got to have banana. Otherwise, you need the other voice meter. But it does. Banana is the better of the two anyway. So getting banana is good. What banana does is it allows you to split your audio to go to two different devices, and you may not even need that because you could just, if you've got a wired headset, I don't think you need it at all. Because it's got a splitter, they give you all the wires you need. But if you have a Bluetooth headset, then you would probably want to get voice meter or banana or the other one. And it's not bad software once you get used to it. It took me a long time to get used to it, but it works. And it's free. Donation work. So my altitude set, I've got VNav turned on, my numbers are put in. Let's see, so well, they're not put in. Now they're in 102, 108. So yeah. So the weather is not quite right in FS 2020, and I should have just flown through a storm. There was no storm. They need to, maybe it'll take them another year to get the weather right. Who knows? Two minutes. But yeah, the feeling in my butt is that I'm flying a machine through the sky rather than seeing something on the screen. And that's the real benefit to this thing. There's only one wire that comes out of the unit that goes back to the amplifier, and it's thick and it's well made. and it works good with X-Plane. I tried it out with a Phenom, and I liked it quite a bit, if not even slightly more so with X-Plane. Okay, did you say that the event is not on this weekend? Is that what you meant by no, not yet? Okay, down we go. Well, maybe I missed him. I hate the lag. And if anybody has any questions, post them to the chat, and or leave a comment, and I'll try to answer them. No difference right now. It feels the same as it did when it was up at altitude. I wouldn't think there'd have been much, if any, difference at all. It's actually quite impressive. So why does this banana show here and this banana shows here? They're both on the same range. Let me screenshot that real quick. I can't think of a reason at all. It really does give you a feeling like you're in a real airplane. I get why people like this. Okay, so let's go to the extended center line. Exec. I mean, it's like, you know, when I simmed before this, I could see the outside world, but part of my mind was like, it's just visual. But with the seat vibrating like this, it like brings it up to where it's like, oh, we actually are up here. Like I said, the whole flying the machine idea is very real. (3002). So I'll do one with the DA62, perhaps Sunday morning, and then I should do one with the Cessna 208, so I'll get a turboprop too. A single engine, nose engine turboprop. And, you know, maybe I'll try the Cessna 172. Those are probably the only 3 airplanes that I really think are worth it right now in this sim. And I just got a mod for the Cessna 208, which I've not tried. But it fixes some things like the yaw damper, which always annoyed me that it didn't work in the stock Cessna 208. This would be a hoot in solid IFR. You know, because when you're in solid IFR, you've got your adrenaline going, you're thinking, you know, what do I got to do, you know, and you're doing all your planning and everything. Everything's got to be right. And so you add this whole feeling element to it too. And it would, I can imagine that would make it, might make your adrenaline go up a couple more notches. So yeah, a second sound card, I get why people say you could use one. I'm just hesitant to add more junk to my sim, that's all. And yeah, you can get them cheap, you know, 20 bucks, 10 bucks maybe. So I don't know what airport that is. It looks blurry too. Why does it look blurry? Whatever, whatever, whatever. Okay, so let's slow her up. And I'll try to remember to articulate what I'm feeling with the flaps and the gear and the touchdown. Like I said, I shut the other software off. I'll have to experiment with that. You know, it'll probably take me a week to get it ironed out to see what I want to do there. You know, there's more that this thing could do than what I'm using right now. Okay, so we're at 250 knots. Let's see, landing line is on. Let's get the passengers seated. And beacon's not on.
Please. At this time, please comply with the illuminated seatbelt
And temperature is 8, so I can shut the engine anti-ice off. So we're getting close. So that's a 5-mile final right there. So we still got another, what is it, 27 miles to go. As long as I get it down to 200 by then. Should be down below that, really. But once I get down to 200, I can put a notch of flaps out. These are all military airports around here. So I'll vector myself. I'm gonna get right about here. I'll vector myself around. We'll come back in. So runway 08. And we need to be below 200 once we're below 3,000 feet and within 4 miles of the airport. kind of close, so little speed brake. Yeah, you get a really good feel of moving over the land. It's funny how it does that to your brain. There's 200 knots, we'll put a notch of flaps out. There's the airport right there.
Altitude.
And really, I've got a notch of flaps out. I'll pilot off. Go on down to 1,500 feet. Gear speed for this airplane is 200 knots, same as the flaps 1. And let's do this. I don't think I can shut the flight director off. Nope. But at least I can put it in roll mode. And let's get the gear out. Okay, so now the vibrations are really coming in. And now they've diminished quite a bit. So you feel the gear extending. Go out here about 2 miles and then I'll turn around. You can see why I put the green arrows up so I can know that I'm on a pretty solid 90-degree base. And when your airplane is dirty and low and slow like this, you don't want to go really past where I'm turning right now. You know, I mean, I'm a little over 20, and that's, you know, oh, look at this. All right, flaps full. No additional vibration with flaps full, but I'm not sure that I would expect it.
500. 500.
Gear is down and indicated, flaps are full. Yaw damper's off. URF +2. Well, VREF close, very close. Oh yeah, some real vibration when I touch it down. Really gives you a feeling like you just arrived at an airport. Really does. Much more so than without it. Like you feel like you're on the ground. Am I gonna miss this taxiway? No, I'm not. I taxi straight on in. Now right now I don't feel any any taxi roll at all. That's just partly my settings. Like I said, I don't know, I'll think about getting another cheap sound card. I'll do some experimenting. Maybe. But I'm happy with it like it is. Though, you know, I'll try out his sounds and see if any of the other ones are intrusive. I didn't get that awful much from the gear down thing. It felt a little too strong for me anyway. So, yeah. Alright, park and brake on. Taxi light off. Pitot heat off. And engines off. Oh, 1 hour. That. And we are here in Pensacola. Oh. It's a pretty decent looking Pensacola. This is the default. There's nothing special going on here. So, yeah. So, yeah, I like it. I like it from, you know, that perspective. Like I said, I'll have to try it again. Do a little bit more experimenting. I've got options to do there. You know, it's up to, you know, like I said, they're $200. And you know, when you got a choice between a decent throttle quadrant or, you know, which everybody needs, and decent yoke or whatever you fly with, you know, I mean, if I had to choose between rudder pedals and a butt kicker, I'd go with rudder pedals any day of the week. You know, there's some things you just gotta have. But you know, if you're at that point where you want to add some realism to your sim, instead of buying 10 airports, you know, 10, 15 airports, I think this adds more to it than any number of airports does. And that's my take. So there's my opinion, at least right now. And like I said, I'll be flying with it when I can this week, and maybe flying tomorrow night. I'll have to see. I've got something I've got to do tomorrow, and then I'll possibly fly Sunday morning. I'll probably try to fly VATSIM tomorrow night, and then on Sunday morning I'll probably fly the DA-62. I don't know that airplane. Well, it's not a hard airplane. At least in FS 2020, it's not. It's more complicated in X-plane. But I'll try it in FS 2020. Maybe start on the runway, something like that, and just give my impressions while I'm flying it around. Like I said, I already did once, and it seemed like it was very, very immersive. But you know, I wasn't. I was just flying, not really thinking. So that's where we are. I hope that hurricane isn't a problem for anybody. So you guys have a good night, and I will see you guys online later. Good night.